we're talking about Toy Story. Oh, yeah. That's right.
We've talked about before on the podcast, but that was, I mean, whenever Lightyear came out, and we mostly talked about Lightyear, I feel like we didn't really touch on the first or any of the other Toy Story movies specifically, besides the story of us walking to the theater to see Toy Story 3 in a storm, much like the storm that happened today here in the Midwest. And walking into the theater with little cuts and stuff from all of the gravel that got picked up by the wind hitting. At least I did.
I don't remember that.
I walked in with little cuts all over my arm, and I said, "All this for a kids movie?" And even at the time, I realized how silly that was, because kids movies fucking rule, dude. Animated movies are, honestly, I think I enjoy animated movies 9 times out of 10 more than live action movies. There's just shit that you can't do in live action that you can do in animation. You got it.
Go to infinity and beyond.
Yeah, you can't do that in live action.
You can't do that.
People have tried, and we've gotten so far as the moon. I think that's the latest. I think that's the latest news coming out of NASA. But let's talk about Toy Story, because Toy Story came out the same year that we did.
Yes, indeed.
1995. And which is a great year for babies to be born and movies to come out, because Tommy Boy also came out that year, and we talked about Tommy Boy before. But today we're talking about Toy Story, and you all know Toy Story. It's the first fully CGI animated film to ever release.
Ever, huh?
Ever, yeah. There were a lot of short films that were produced, like some by Pixar, some by other studios, but it's the first full-length feature film that was entirely CGI.
It's also the first full-length film by Pixar.
Yeah, which is a studio that unfortunately has seen a little bit of a drop-off in recent years. And, you know, I don't want to say it's because they're coming out with a lot of sequels instead of original stories, because they are coming out with original stories, but it's just, you look at the movies that they put out within the last, 5 years, and then you look at the stuff that they put out between Toy Story and we both had Pixar movies as our favorite animated movies of all time.
That's right, because they're the goats.
That's true. What does that mean? What's flashing?
It's stupid. Don't mind it.
Okay. I thought your camera was about to explode.
No.
And that would have been not good.
So
talk to us about Toy Story.
I like it. It's funny.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it very much. Okay.
That's all you need to know.
Now we're moving on to my
Nope, you can't do that bit again. You did that in the last episode of yours. You can't do that bit again.
Same goddamn joke over and over again.
Yeah. I just said we do high-hanging fruit. We do hard jokes.
I don't know.
You know the first time you saw it?
No, absolutely not. Because it came out the same year I did. So
yeah.
I probably saw it when I was 3.
That's a good age. That's a good Toy Story age, I feel like.
And
what was that?
And there goes the car. We are now officially the Too Bad We Didn't Get Into the
Redacted.
Steve Miller, the Joker Mask podcast. I'm your host, not Steve Miller.
You see that shit?
Never mind. We're back. We are back in control.
We're so back, baby. We're so back.
There you go.
Honestly, at this point, I think I need to just start scripting these, because I generally don't know what the hell to say about it. Besides, it's good, it's funny, and I like it.
You should just start listing off facts. You know, you got Tom Hanks and Tim Allen.
Yes,
as the main two characters.
You want some facts?
Yeah.
The gunny was the sergeant, Arlie Ermy.
Yeah. Yeah, the guy from Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
He
was the Sarge.
A lot of really good comedians. You got Don Rickles as Mr. Potato Head.
Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah, you got John Ratzenberger, who went on to essentially be the hidden Mickey of Pixar movies, as in he did a small voice in every Pixar movie. I think he still does to this
Oh
day.
yeah.
But he
Rex.
did Ham.
Or Ham, right?
Yeah, and then Rex was Wallace Shawn, who was the guy, the inconceivable guy from The Princess Bride. Have you seen The Princess Bride? Yeah, dude, that's another really good movie. I fucking love The Princess Bride. Yeah, and it's just like stacked head to toe from the supporting characters to the lead characters. Everyone does a really good job in their role, especially considering this. I'm sure from the actor's perspective, functioned almost identical to recording voices for a 2D animated movie, but it's still crazy that Pixar was able to get the expressions that they did given the actors' lines, because again they were using all CG. So it was kind of unprecedented seeing the kind of expressionistic, or that's not the right word I'm looking for. All the characters are very expressive, and the humor,
well animated.
Yeah, very well animated. The humor is on point.
A lot of great lines. Great lines.
Yeah,
A lot of great lines.
Sid scared the shit out of me when I was a kid.
Mrs. Nesbit. Sad, strange little man.
Yeah, falling with style.
You are a toy.
Yeah,
You are a child's plaything.
When Mr. Potato Head walks up to Ham and he's like, "Look, I'm Picasso," and then Ham just like walks away and he's like, "You tasteless swine." That one's really good. That one I didn't appreciate as a kid as much, but yeah, dude. And this is again a case of a family film more than a kid's film, because there's so many jokes and references in here that aren't supposed to make kids laugh as much. I guess they're funny to kids and adults in different ways. Where for kids, sometimes it's the movements of the characters, sometimes it's the way that they, like when Woody runs, because he's just like a plush whatever, his limbs are all janky and he kind of runs like this, or like his hat is almost falling off, and so that's funny. And then he says, something about murdering Buzz and pushing him out of the second story window. And isn't that a little fucked up that the plot of this movie is one toy getting so jealous of the other that he plots murder, essentially? And then when Buzz actually does fall out the window, Woody is still an asshole about it, because everyone is like, what happened? What'd you do? And Woody was like, good riddance. And no one else agrees with him. And they're like, you fucking find him. Go get him.
See, I don't even need to tell you why I like this movie. I have Nick here to tell you why I like this movie.
Dude, I talk for the both of us.
It's just like,
we know this.
It's all really good points, and I agree with all of it. It's like, yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sometimes I need to hear someone explain to me why I like something.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that all checks out.
Well, because then if I say something wrong, then you have every right to be like, shut the fuck up. Wrong. Loud, incorrect buzzer. That's what that was supposed to sound like in my head.
Think of what else. And Andy was terrifying.
Yeah, humans. I understand why Pixar didn't focus on making human-centric movies for a while. Because the humans that they made were very scary.
Dude, and like the Sid, his like combinations. Remember that, like the rolling thing with the head?
Yeah.
And like the hand, like that thing was terrifying.
Yeah, there was the fishing pole with stripper legs.
Yeah.
There was the rubber duck head on the buff tattooed guy's body, like the wrestler's body. And it was like shit like that. It's just like, it's sometimes scary when you're watching it as a kid, but as an adult, you're like, oh yeah, this is some good shit. I know there were some kids that I was friends with that did this. But as a kid, you were just like, oh, this is just some kid mutilating his toys.
I think it was weird, man.
It was very weird. And then Buzz develops like, not PTSD, but like he takes on Mrs. Nesbit's. Yeah. Like he just gets assimilated into the group of misfit toys, and he starts wearing this like, bonnet and
yeah, because when he shows up, he's like, yes, I am the real Buzz Lightyear.
The fucking, I totally forgot. Did any of you realize that Buzz Lightyear goes through an identity crisis the way that like a non-playable character discovering their in-game model would go through. Like, he discovers that he's just one of a million Buzz Lightyear toys. And so he goes through a crisis where he breaks down mentally because he's like, what do I have to live for? There's a million other Buzz Lightyears. I don't need to be Buzz Lightyear anymore. And just, I forgot that was a plot point. Dude goes off the deep end.
Yeah, I think that's the second one. Isn't that the second one where they find the Isle of Buzz Lightyears?
Well, yeah, but I feel like he sees a commercial.
Yeah, and this one is
Sid's
like the
room.
commercial of like the toy.
Yeah,
where you realize it's a toy.
Buzz. Something about there's something in the commercial that's so 90s it makes it so fun to watch. Because this movie also kind of serves as a time capsule for the 90s where kids. Not a phone in sight because they weren't invented. But it opens with Andy's birthday party where he gets Woody and then and you see a bunch of kids just running around and you see just the room with all of the birthday decorations, and then when you're first introduced to all of the toys and they're coming out of his toy chest and they're being, they're picking themselves off the floor. It's just it's very nostalgic and it's very cool, and I love Toy Story so much, and Toy Story 3 will never fail to make me cry. I know everyone says that, but fuck you anyway. But Toy Story 1 is where it all started, and if we didn't have Toy Story 1, we wouldn't have... I mean, I'm sure someone would have eventually made the first CG movie, but I'm glad that it was Pixar, because then we wouldn't have gotten The Incredibles, and then this podcast wouldn't exist.
That's right.
There you go.
It all starts in 1995 with Toy Story.
So thank you, Toy Story. And thank you, Pixar. And we'll never talk about you again because I think we're done talking about Pixar.